Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about the Greek diagnosis compared to what they said when I got back to the UK. So I went to a small hospital in Kalymnos when I broke my ankle. That was my first port of call. When I got there, they asked a few questions about the accident. Thankfully they spoke English, and then they x-rayed me. Now, the x-ray machine, I've not been x-rayed recently and I wasn't really aware of what to expect from an x-ray machine, but looking back, it was pretty old, and the sort of x-rays that come out of this machine are this type. You know, the type you kind of associate with older health systems, and they're the ones that you have to hold up against a light source in order to see the fractures, see the bones. I'm going to attach to this video a more detailed, a clearer picture of the X-ray and the break that they identified. I'll just show you quickly here. So that's my left foot, and if I hold it still, you can see that there's a fracture just here to the fibular joint, the fibular bone. What they did was they x-rayed me, and then they said you've got a break to your fibula, and they said that they were going to wait for the orthopaedic surgeon to arrive. I think he was elsewhere, so in the meantime they put me in a cast, and then I was made to wait an hour, which is, you know, fine, obviously. Little funny aside is that when I was waiting, another lady came in who was pretty similar to me in age, with exactly the same problem. She'd broken her ankle, or well, she thought she'd broken it. Done something to her foot while climbing. So we had a little hello and everything, and then I think she went in after me and also got x-rayed, and it turned out that she'd broken her heel bone. So anyway, I digress. So yeah, the orthopaedic surgeon came, and he informed me that I would need an operation and that I would be best having it there because it's best to operate quickly, and I would need a couple of, maybe a one plate put in this broken fibula that I just showed you. Now, at this point, obviously I wasn't sure what to do because I was in Greece. It was a small hospital. I kind of was aware that if I came home to the UK, I might be able to get better treatment. So the guy even said himself, you know, your equipment in the UK is better than ours, etc. But he did urge that I needed it done soon. So after chatting with the people I was with and having a think about it, etc., I wasn't really in a good mind frame to think, to be honest. And so I'm very grateful that the people I was with, one of whom is a doctor, so he kind of was able to assess the situation, I think, a bit more, you know, professionally, and he just advised, you know, I think you should go home to the UK. And I had a quick look at the flights the next day and realised there was a flight the following evening that I could probably get on, so I decided that I would come home. Okay, so that's what happened in Greece. When I got back to the UK, the morning after I flew back, I went to my local hospital, which is a smaller hospital that doesn't have the full facilities, but they were able to x-ray me. At that point, the radiographer identified a talus bone fracture. He was quite surprised because I think it's not something he's that familiar with. He said he'd seen 3 in his career, I think, and that's when things started getting a bit more serious, because he said, "Oh yeah, you're going to need an operation here. You're going to need plates in it, and this is more serious than what we thought was the situation." So I won't go into how I got sent home and then sent back and then sent home and then got sent back, because that's boring. and I know the NHS is under so much pressure, and I don't want to criticise them at all. That first day was crazy. I had 3 sort of separate hospital visits. In the end, after my X-ray, was referred to some senior orthopaedic surgeons, and also I was given a CT scan to see the depth of the injury. They decided to keep me in because it was obvious I was going to need quite extensive surgery on it. Now, talus bone is the one that connects the foot to the leg. It's right in the middle, and it doesn't smash easily because it's a very solid bone. It takes a lot for it to smash. Like most ankle injuries, you'll break the tibia, you'll break the fibula, but the talus wouldn't normally break unless you were thrown a long way, which is what happened to me. And they're also harder to identify because, I mean, if you look at these X-rays, you can't really see the fine fractures. The talus joint is in here somewhere. I think it's that one. Is it? Anyway, yeah. Sorry, my anatomy isn't the best. I can see on different pictures where it is, but basically it's right in the middle of the bone, and it's a funny shaped bone. I should put a picture now. And the break that I've got is to the neck of the talus bone, which is the thin bit in the middle. And talus bone fractures are classed according to something called the Hawkins system. And you've got a classification of 1 to 4. And talus neck fractures are classed according to the system. And it all depends, your classification, it depends on how bad the break is. So a talus neck fracture with no other breaks, so just a fracture in the neck is 1. 2 is when you've got the talus neck fracture and then the bones around it are slightly displaced, so they're not in the place that they should be. That's the one I've got. So I'm a talus bone fracture type 2. Talus neck fracture type 2, excuse me for being like, this is all new to me, so I'm having to remember the words, etc. Now, I'll just talk quickly about avascular necrosis, because this is basically I'm at risk of the bone being cut off, for having its blood supply cut off, which this is a really bad thing. But if anyone out there is watching and they also have a talus bone fracture, they'll know what I'm on about immediately, because basically this injury is a high risk injury for having vascular necrosis, which means the blood supply gets cut off during the trauma of the incident, because the blood supply is limited as it is. It's not sort of easily maintained, and if the blood supply is cut off, I don't know this yet. I will know this in a few weeks' time, a few months' time. It's something that will manifest itself gradually. And when I was talking about the Hawkins neck fracture classifications earlier, the 1, 2, 3, 4 each has a different percentage of risk associated with it. And the doctors have told me that the risk associated with a Hawkins talus neck fracture type 2 is 30%. So there's 30% chance of me having this bone death situation, which I do not want at all. And that'll mean problems for the future. I think there are ways around it, but they're not reliable. And you're just basically opening up problems for the future: arthritis, really reduced mobility, limping, all sorts of things that I'm obviously not up for. I'm trying to stay optimistic at the moment. I'm hoping it doesn't happen to me. 30% is, could be a lot better, but 3 in 10 doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be me. So post-surgery, one of the surgeons came around also and just discussed the future of my ankle, what it's going to be like, and I kind of said I'm an optimist, basically. I tend to think things are going to be okay. And I said to him, he's talking about, you know, movement and how basically the talus bone affects how your foot moves. So being able to go like that and like that with your ankle is what the talus bone does. And I said, so, you know, what's the best case scenario here? I'm planning on very much achieving the best case scenario for myself. He said, okay, well, your movement's going to be affected. Maximum, you're going to have 50% this way and 50% that way. And so I'm like, oh, that does not sound good. I want more than that. So that's what they've said. So that's the position I'm in at the moment. Obviously, at the moment it's healing. When the cast comes off, we'll start rehabilitation and physio and exercises and all that sort of stuff. And we'll see if I get the bone death thing, and we'll see if I get more than 50% mobility back in my ankle. Hopefully I won't get bone death, and hopefully I will get more than 50% mobility back in the old foot. So that's the situation at the moment. These videos are going to be progressing, tracking my progress in this, so that to provide education for other people who've got this injury, this rare injury, and hopefully if I recover well, which I plan to do, I'm going to do everything in my power to recover, even though it's going to take a long time. If I can make a full recovery, and in a year's time, if I'm making videos that say, hey look, I can do this with my foot, etc., then it'll give other people hope. That's the aim. So yeah, watch this space and follow my videos, and we'll soon see how I recover. Well, not soon, but we will see how I recover. Okay, laters, bye.